Good evening, everybody. This is the December Climate Reality San Fernando Valley Chapter meeting. Glad to have you all here. It's going to be fun. And tonight we're going to do some things and talk about stuff that we get to take home with us, or since we are home, we're going to use here at home. It's going to be very personal. We're not going to try to, heal the world tonight as much as we are going to fix little things in our own home. So glad you could join us. And now I'm Steve Jolly. And what we're going to do as part of our program is share sustainability tips, and Cheryl Cuneo is going to lead us on that. So if you came thinking you don't have one, this is an unscripted part of our evening, part of our program, and we invite you all, if you get inspired and you hear somebody say something and you think, oh, I do something that might be of interest, we're going to have you raise your hand. And we'll just call on you, just going to share, show and tell. If you've got a prop that you can help us understand a little bit more clearly how you're doing it, then that would be great too. But we always like to start our meetings with the land acknowledgement. And I'm actually going to share my screen while we just think this is really important. And so we have it on the screen so you can read along, but Michelle Ringler, our vice chair, is going to read why we do it and then the acknowledgement itself. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Diana. So a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes and respects Indigenous peoples as stewards of this land and the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. It acknowledges the history that has brought us to reside on this land, the colonialism that is present in our current systems, and calls on us to be mindful of our own present participation in it. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Tongva, Kizh, Tataviam, and Chumash tribes.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Andy, who is going to share with us his Sustainable Holiday Series. And we have time, Andy, so no need to rush or anything. Just share what you can about how we should be thinking about doing things a little differently during the holidays. Okay, so take it away.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Basically, I try to do this for every holiday season, is just give individuals, folks, ideas on how to make it more sustainable. The goal is going to be to make it a zero waste holiday and to work towards a zero waste lifestyle. But again, that can be daunting. And again, like Diana said, every little bit, every incremental step helps. And the holidays are a particularly wasteful time. That's been the hallmark of capitalism. I say hallmark, again, hallmark is all about holidays, but that doesn't mean that it has to be unsustainable. So there are ways to do things in a more sustainable fashion. So I'll go over some ideas that I have and tips that I think make it more sustainable. So again, you don't have to be a minimalist, but be very intentional with your decorations and your decor. And also it's a fun one for family, friends to do things DIY. Those, again, it's something that you've put your heart and soul into, but also they'll last longer, hopefully, and hopefully you have an attachment to them, or you can gift them. And ideally, you also want to look for things that are reusable. These are why having ornaments that are of value are so important. Having long-standing decorations, that's not a bad thing if they're literally going to stand the test of time and you're going to use them over and over and incorporate them into future designs that you have. You see all the cool displays. Well, that is really cool, especially if you're building on them. You're not just disposing of things and changing them out year over year, but you're actually adding to them. So they're different iterations that you're just building on. And also there can be some cool antiques in and among there, which is why I included the images of the tree toppers. Fun fact, finial dobra is the more formal term for a tree topper. But when you do have to purchase things, that's completely understandable. You may not have everything you need or want. So in that case, opt for vintage or antique items. Like I mentioned, used items, they can always use a new home. And ideally, don't throw out anything until it's no longer useful, until it's on its last leg. Ideally also choosing living, reusable, recycled, or recyclable items. or compostable items, because at least these don't have to go in the landfill. They can be disposed of in a slightly more sustainable way. And this one comes up quite a bit, and you're going to get different sides. There are individuals that have different dogs in the fight, but if you are celebrating Christmas and you are celebrating with trees, you can opt for an artificial one. The general timeline is if you use it more than 5 times, then it is generally regarded as sustainable and it's made up its full usage. There are debates about that, so I'm not going to lie. The jury is still out, but from what I've read, and again, I am a novice expert on this, up to 5 times and beyond, that makes it at least comfortable and more sustainable. And again, these are things that, so long as they're not in a state of disrepair, you can gift them to someone else if you want to get another one. So I do recommend keep using it. My mom, for example, she has so many ornaments. She does an artificial one and a live one. It's just, she has that many ornaments, so that's what she does. But if you do opt for a live one, ideally, if you can find one that's raised sustainably, obviously that makes it sustainable. So find it from a good farm, and then make sure that it is being composted. And we did actually have some feedback on Facebook, questions about that. Generally, if you're in the LA area, if you put it on the curbside in a timely manner, Sharon was grateful enough and nice enough to put this out there. Those trees, if they're collected and they're not flocked, they will actually be mulched and composted. So again, they do have a second life, ideally preventing erosion and providing a little more support to our landscaping. So keep that in mind. So make sure we're disposing of things in the best way possible if we do need to dispose of them. And we know that this is the season to give gifts. So if you can and you need to give gifts, DIY options, vintage or antique options, or repurposed items are always viable. Also, this is a good one that's falling into favor in fashion, is opting for experiences. So again, dinner at a nice restaurant, ideally a vegan or vegetarian one if you're in the mood, that's super sustainable, or a trip. So those are things that you get memories from, but also it's not just buying another item that may or may not get used. And if you are looking for what we would term sustainable gifts, looking for things that are produced sustainably. And so what does that mean? You have to delve a little bit deeper for this information, but if it's produced with renewable energy, if it's produced with recycled or repurposed material, those are going to be things that are made from renewable or more sustainable items. If you're looking for items made from sustainable materials, those are going to be things that contain repurposed, upcycled, ideally not downcycled, recycled content. So that's why I put a nice little chest there that's made out of reclaimed wood, available on Wayfair. Not that I'm advocating for them, but again, you can find them anywhere, big store, little store. And also, if you can look for items that are free of or contain little packaging, Diana and Kathy and Cheryl did a good job. Ideally, if we can get away from that packaging, those disposable bags, those are not the best options. Other things you can look for, again, a little nerdy, but very intentional for Climate Reality and other groups like ours. Think of gifts that highlight the climate crisis and how to resolve it. You could consider donating. Diane already brought that up, but I'm going to reiterate that. Donating to organizations like Climate Reality, the San Fernando Valley chapter, the LA chapter, wink, 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 nod, 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 not that I'm biased. So groups that are aimed at actually combating and focusing on the climate crisis and resolving it. Focusing on water independence and drought mitigation, all things that we need. We did get some added water and rain, but please don't rest on your laurels. We don't have enough water as it is, so we really need to focus on these crises. And then there are sustainable gift guides, and also we're going to have this whole dialogue so you can talk to us and others about what are good options and more sustainable gift ideas. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of different things. And thankfully we're only halfway through the month. And so for our late gift shoppers, I haven't bought all mine yet. Keep these tips in mind when you're purchasing or when you're looking for gifts. Which also leads to wrapping them. I always have the question, do you need to wrap it? That does offend people, I get it. So if you do need to wrap, utilize used or recycled gift wrap, especially with your eco friends, they'll love that. People that aren't as environmentally conscious, I mean, pitch it whatever way, they'll enjoy it. But you can repurpose other types of paper. Fabric is a great option or an excellent alternative if you have that lying around, which is why I have that image there. But ideally make sure that any type of wrapping that you're using is reusable, recyclable, or compostable. I generally go in that order because that's the general order of sustainability. Recyclable and compostable, again, it just depends. But with like, here's the thing, and I want to be clear about this. Some people don't like recycling, and I get it. But the thing is, as long as we're talking about materials like metal, glass, paper, cardboard, those items generally have a market and will get recycled. It's plastics where it's unclear and there's not always a market for them. So do keep that in mind when you're concerned about recycling and when you're concerned about buying wrapping material. But once it's unwrapped, save and reuse it. Be that person that saves that gift wrapping. Keep the tape if you can reuse it. Don't keep the tape. But again, just make sure that you're reusing that gift wrap because it is a good idea. But if not, if you do need to get rid of it or you have excess, recycling and composting it. One thing to keep in mind, stuff with glitter generally isn't recyclable. So while it can be pretty and I get it and it's shiny, I would opt away from glitter if you can. I know that that's kind of being a party pooper, but sorry, it is what it is. We all got to eat, and for meals and parties, we generally have food, and on top of that, we serve it on things. So when you're looking for serviceware, foodware, dinnerware, whatever we want to call it, sorry, it has several names, which is why I want to cover all of those. Try to use reusable cutlery, dinnerware, drinkware, linens, all that stuff. It may not be feasible. It may be too big a party. So if the festivities are that large or daunting, I get it. If that's not feasible, utilize compostable ware. The one exception, please avoid PLA. Right now, it is definitely not compostable. So I would stay away from plant-based plastics. That's what PLA is. You'll see it on the packaging. So please don't fall for that greenwashing just because it says it's compostable, but in most markets, and Alex and Jennifer can talk about this next month, it's generally not. So please keep that in mind. So if you need something, then utilize recyclable wares. Again, we want to try and avoid disposable plastic. So I would opt for paper. Once it's soiled, it does need to be composted, but keep that in mind. If you still need to use plastic, then I would go for a hard plastic like 1, 2, or 5. There's a higher chance that those will be recycled if you need to use disposable plastic. So keep that in mind. Also, they do make metal ones that can be reused or at least better recycled. So look for metal options if those are available too. So aluminum. If you can run the dishwasher, that actually does save water and energy. I know people judge me, but actually that is the most sustainable thing, is if you can actually use an industrial dishwasher because it utilizes water and energy in the most efficient way possible. And again, we want to make sure that we dispose of our waste properly because we are going to generate waste. So when that happens, please sort it properly. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can ask me later, put it on Facebook, Instagram, whether it's San Fernando Valley or the LA chapter channels. I will respond and I'll make sure you know how to sort that stuff properly. You can always consult your local waste hauler. You can also consult Jennifer and Alex next month if you still have questions that I or someone else didn't answer thoroughly enough. For future holidays, because again, they're going to keep coming, please just adopt and share and promote these tips. Audit your current winter celebration practices and determine sustainable changes and ideally implement them. Again, it's good to know about them. It's even better to actually implement what's being suggested. I have tested these. They are workable. They are affordable. Make your preparations and plan for future holidays. Planning does make it easier to be more sustainable. If we're on the fly, it makes it much harder. Things are more limited. That's just the way it works. Next step that you can do, I'm happy to help you all with this, is writing to manufacturers to produce more sustainable products, writing to vendors to source more sustainable products and offer more sustainable products. Believe it or not, stores are listening. You'll see in Target and Walmart, there are more sustainable offerings. The only reason is because people are asking for them and looking for them. They wouldn't provide them if there wasn't a market. So if you let them know, if you're a loyal customer of theirs, they will be more inclined to offer those if you're telling them that's what you're in the market for. So that is truly the means of voting with your dollar, going a step further, being a concerned consumer and customer, and telling vendors and suppliers what you want. And then finally, adopting additional zero waste behaviors, because again, this is how we're going to get to those zero waste lifestyles, which underlie sustainable and zero waste societies and systems. Okay, just have one more. That is it. Otherwise, happy sustainable holidays, and I'm happy to take questions. But thank you, Diana, for allowing me to present. And I think I will also try and make, if there's time, a sustainable New Year series as well, which I'll post on both the LA channels, and I'll send to Sharon to post on the San Fernando Valley social media channels as well. But thank you all for your time.
Excellent,
And happy
Andy.
sustainable holidays.
Thank you so much. I love the zero waste presentations that you've been bringing to us now for it's coming up to 3 years. It was 20, the spring of 20, when you first brought something to us. And then we had that woman, Catherine, speak to our chapter, and, you know, it's just continued to grow. And I know we're getting into that now, sustainability tips. I've changed so many things I've done, and a lot of that has been the result of your motivation and your guidance. So thank you very much for sharing that with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Diana, can I just tell Andy one thing?
Yes.
Yeah, the best tip I ever got from you, Andy, was to put a recycling bin in my bathroom, because it literally changed every single thing I buy that I use in my bathroom. I don't have a single piece of plastic in any of the things that I buy in my bathroom anymore, because that first time that bucket filled up so fast. So now everything is in cardboard glass. Even my toothbrush is bamboo.
Yeah, mine is bamboo too. So thank you, Chrissy. That is one of the things that I would strongly encourage everyone to do if you have time. Only if you have time, is really auditing like simple things and everyday things. And again, the holidays, we tend to fall into a rhythm and pattern. So if we're really auditing our actions, saying, can I make one sustainable change? It really does have that ripple effect where it just keeps building. But in case you need help, Cheryl will help lead the conversation on how to go about that.
Hey there.
Kathy, what's the toothpaste bit?
Oh yeah, the chewable ones, Kathy, they're pretty good.
Yeah, it's in a little jar, and they're little tiny pill-sized things. What do you do, Christy? You chew them and they
Chew them
foam
up and then brush. That's what I do.
And if you're using
Oh.
Bite, it comes in a compostable bag, your refills. So
Yeah.
they send you the initial one in a jar, and then your refills come in a compostable bag. And the only reason I trust that it's compostable is it says you can put this in your garden.
So you don't have the tube. So you're basically doing this to get rid of the tube. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, very, very cool. Yes.
I use this stuff. It's actually called the dirt tooth powder,
Oh.
whatever. And I use baking soda too.
Old school. Yeah.
Old
Very
school,
cool.
Old school.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Well, this is such a great segue into our sustainability tips. Before, I'm just going to share two things with you that you might appreciate before I turn it over to Cheryl to kick things off. In the how to save a chat and how to raise your hand. Okay, if you are not familiar, if you want to open the chat window, at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's a little icon with a bubble that says chat. If you don't see it there, find where it says more with 3 dots, click on that. And then in the chat panel on the lower right side where you would enter a message, keep going to the right, there's 3 dots. If you click on that, a submenu comes up and you can say save chat. So I'm assuming that there might be some interesting things that are going to be put in the chat as we share ideas. So if you want to save a chat. Now, as we get into sustainability tips, if you would like to share, if you have a tip you'd like to share, there is a way you can let us know. And at the bottom of the Zoom screen, there is a button called, it was called hand just reactions, right? Right. If you click on the little happy face that says reactions, there's a thumbs up, a heart, different things. And beneath all of those, it says raise hand. So when you raise hand, if you see on my screen, a little hand comes up. So that would be one way for you to let us know that you'd like to share something. So with that said, Cheryl, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick us off and discuss our sustainability tips.
Okay, so while there I was thinking, okay, Andy's talking about Christmas, I'll go with starting with wrapping. And then I thought, no, we're talking about toothpaste, whatever. We're going to start with wrapping. And we're going to start with that partly because let's see, it was Sharon who wrote in, said she couldn't make it today. Is she in here? No. And said one that her family invested in a set of cloth gift bags rather than paper, and you can reuse them forever. My family has been exchanging the same cloth gift bags every year for a good 20 years at this point. I'm kind of echoing that because, okay, I sew, but I don't know, when my daughter was little, I just decided to start making bags, and I made them out of everything from like old doilies to old sheets to tea towels. Christy, you said tea towels, and I kind of make them and so that you can, you know, pull them closed like that. And so I just have a box of these, and we reuse them every year. The other thing I did was that first year I took all my old, all the cards that we got. We don't get that many Christmas cards anymore, but back then we did, and kind of did the pinking shears and stuff like that, did a hole punch and put some ribbons in them. And this one says, to Apple from Mom and Dad, we love you. They can get reused over and over and over again. So if anybody at this point has any more tips about how you wrap, jump on in. Oh, I see hands. Tara, Tara first.
Yes, I was going to talk about a different topic, though, when you're ready for other tips.
Okay. Anybody else of you two?
Actually, I paint on my, like, if I get a paper bag from Trader Joe's, I actually put a painting on it and wrap with the old bags from the grocery store. I don't usually have them because I usually bring my own bags, but you know, every now and then when you have to stop in.
Very cool. Very cool.
I might date myself here, but I remember as a child using paper bags as book covers. Did anybody else? We turned them inside out.
Absolutely.
Cut it to the book and made book covers for our books. So that's
Michelle.
Yeah, I was just going to say for gift giving, if you live in the Woodland Hills or Granada Hills area, there's a really cool store named Sustainable, and everything's eco-friendly, sustainable. They have refill stations there for bath and body, nice gift ideas, baskets, and that sort of thing. Bamboo toothbrushes, anything for the household, and everything in there is sustainable. And I'd like to support that business. Really nice lady who owns it.
What's the name? What's the name again?
It's called Sustainable. I'll put the link in the chat.
Jolly, is this wrapping or Christmas related or anything holiday related?
Yeah, I used to would always do specifically like fabric. It was always like, it's always well received, I found. And you can find like fun, interesting prints too. But I've moved in this last year, and so all my craft stuff, like, it's not going to happen this year, but you can use sales papers as well, because in this time of year you get a lot more sales papers of things that are buy this for the holiday, right? And so in keeping with the more consumerist, capitalist spirit of the season, you can do that.
Sounds great. Anybody else on Christmas presents, wrapping, anything like that?
I also send a lot of my Christmas presents by email because I do give a lot of experiences. And so I actually have them delivered, the emails delivered on Christmas Day. So it is a surprise, because you can, when you buy like I usually send my nieces and nephews and my sister and her husband to some magical place I found near their house that they never knew existed. And they get to like go play and do something there. But you can usually type in what day you want the email delivered on, because they do, they want it for people's birthdays and stuff. And so then their email box fills up with their little activities on that day as well. And then the rest of the month, they have really fun things to do.
very cool.
That's very cool. I didn't know you could do that. And Diana said old maps. That's a cool thing too, to to wrap presents in.
That was, yeah, Amy, I was asking, is
Amy?
that, Amy, are you suggesting
Amy.
old maps as wrapping paper?
Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm multitasking a little bit. So sorry, my thing's not on. Yeah, I just thought, yeah, oh, I've done that before. Like when I used to live in New York, I'd use like old subway maps as wrapping paper.
That's a great idea. Because they usually just go, well, in recycling.
Yeah, and they're colorful too. so-
Yeah, yeah.
All right, any more gift on the gift area? Okay, so what started this for me was when I just decided one year that I was going to go off plastic as much as possible, and I kind of did, like what Andy was talking about and all about. Got up in the morning and went through my day, and it's like every time I saw something plastic, I was like, well, what can I do to replace this? And so we've talked about either tooth powder or toothpaste. You can get dental floss that is natural. I will have to say that it doesn't work for me that well because my teeth are too close together. But there are various companies that make, dental floss that you can get. You can get rid of, I don't know if anybody's using those horrible, like throwaway Bic razors and stuff, but you can still get like good old fashioned, let's pull this apart, metal razors and stuff and razor blades. Like, like your grandparents, my parents, my dad used to use, I think I just dropped that. And then the other thing downstairs, this shampoo, bar shampoo. I get mine from Lush because some of the bar shampoos that I've tried leave your hair feeling sticky, like you haven't gotten all the shampoo washed out. But the Lush seems to be a little bit better, and you can get this nice little tin, which you can travel with, and you can go through, flying and stuff like that and carry-ons, and you have no liquid and stuff. Oh, I've got hands. Tara, is this where you're coming in?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I have a quick thought and then the conversation that I wanted to have. Talking about upcycling, there were so many wonderful ideas that we've had just in the last 10 minutes. I have found it possible to upcycle chopsticks in a number of ways. It just spontaneously, oh wait, this would work. So I have found that I can use chopsticks, which otherwise would go in the landfill, to stir my hair dyes when I'm mixing colors. I use chopsticks when I want to attach something inside the bird cage. If I want to hang a piece of apple or an orange for my bird to have, a chopstick works really well over the cage bars. Someone gave me years ago a bowl, a collapsing bowl that is made entirely out of chopsticks.
Whoa.
So yes,
very
it's
cool.
very crafty.
I have that bowl too, Tara.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So I just wanted to throw that out there. What I wanted to offer, which we sort of started a conversation in the chat, is about reusable paper towels. I really want to reduce the amount of paper towels that I use, and I have always, if I'm just wiping like clean vegetables, I'll put the wet paper towel to the side, let it dry, and reuse it that way. But I wanted to find the ones that are actually reusable that you can wash and use again. So I did some research, and it's up in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat again. There's an article from greenscitizen.com, which is a great place to start investigating what's out there and what's getting the best reviews. So they have 10 of what they consider to be the top products in reusable paper towels. I read up about a lot of them. I have friends that have bought one brand or another. Most of them are made out of sustainable organic cotton. I preferred to try the ones made out of bamboo. So I picked 2 brands, and they are all they come in a variety of different thicknesses and hardnesses and patterns. And so they're, the ones that are going to work for you are different than the ones that are going to work for somebody else. It depends on how you like to clean and what it is you're cleaning. My personal favorite is from a brand called Full Circle. And if you look at this Green Citizens article, there are specific websites for all of these products, but basically they all point you to Amazon. So that's basically where you can get them. So Full Circle to me was my top choice because it still looks and feels like a paper towel. It is completely pliable and easy to fold and easy to rinse out. Some of the reusable paper towels are almost like washcloths, and some of them are also more like, what is that word? Trivets? You know, the things you put under a hot pot, they're so thick and stiff that I don't see how it's going to actually substitute for a paper towel. So you have to kind of read about them and experiment a little bit with different brands till you find the thickness and the quality that you're looking for. But this was my sustainable tip for this season, was to really dive into this transition to reusable paper towels. In my reading of these brands, they all claim one thing or another. One sheet of my reusable brand is equal to a full roll of typical paper towels, or you can use this paper towel 50 times before you wear it out, or they all have claims like that. So, but there are some really good options out there. So that's what I'm starting with this season.
Thank you, Tara. Diana, let me just say that the dental floss is not recyclable, it's compostable.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's recyclable dental floss.
Yeah, no, that was yeah,
no.
you're absolutely right. I can dovetail off what Tara said and about the things. This is like my representative paper towel thing, which I haven't bought paper towels in several years. I think since we all as a chapter started thinking about it. And now just like from Home Goods, I just bought a packet of like a dozen, sort of cheap and cheerful cloth napkins, dinner napkins, and I use those instead. They just throw in the wash. And so I like those. But I had some other ideas, Cheryl. I don't know if you want to keep things in categories or what.
Let's go on to some other. If it's the same category, if it's not the same category, let's go on to other hands and see if they're in the same category.
Okay.
So Faramaz, I'm probably mangling that name. Sorry. Your turn.
So a hack that I did recently was stepping up my bulk item buying game. So in the past, I'd go to grocery stores like the Co-op in Santa Monica and fill up bags with like 5 pounds of this or that. But recently I started buying 25-pound bags of rolled oats for oatmeal or for beans. It does require a little bit more planning, but I basically saved the bulk containers that I previously had, and I just refilled them with these big bags. And it's, it's a couple months of supply, but it pretty much completely eliminates all of the plastic packaging because it comes in paper bags, big 25-pound bags. And the Co-ops in Santa Monica and Culver City have them at a substantial discount, I might add, to the retail price.
Cool. Great idea. Thank you. Robert.
Okay, this might not be the right time. Mine's water related.
Shall we finish with bathroom related first? Anybody else got a bathroom?
I mean, bathroom. In other words, so
I guess that's bathroom related.
Well, so this here, talking about the amount of water that comes out of your bathroom faucet. Could that be related to this?
Sure, let's do it.
So there are ways of cutting down the amount of water that you use on when you wash your hands. This company has done studies that there's been so much more, basically you waste water, more water than you need to rinse your hands. So I just wanted to put out the idea that there are ways to regulate your water out, the regulator on your, what is it called?
The faucet.
Yeah, where it comes out, it's an aerator. That's the word I was looking for. Aerator. You can. They have different types of aerators, like 1.2 gallons per minute, or whatever it is. This one here that I just showed you is really minimalistic. Okay, so it might not be for everybody. But my only point is that you don't usually think about the amount of water that comes out of your bathroom faucet. And that can actually be regulated. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did anyone else just get those in the mail? LEDWP just sent me a box of those thingies for the faucets.
I've gotten them in the mail from LADWP too.
Yeah, and the ones at DWP, are great, and that would probably be the best. This one here is like really minimalist. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the spray on that? It's pretty minimalistic. Okay, so it wouldn't be for everybody, but it really conserves water. But the ones from DWP are great, and there can even. My only point is that there's a whole spectrum of them, and so for each person, you'd have to see, well, how little water can I get by with to wash my hands? And then you can decide. Thank you.
Cool. Kim.
Well, I have a sundry of ways of making my morning coffee, and one of them is my Keurig machine, but it drove me crazy with those little plastic pods. So I found a company called taste.com. It's TAYST.com, and they make coffee pods to put in your Keurig machine. It's Keurig compatible, and they're all compostable. So it sort of alleviated that. And there's many different flavors and strengths. I like very dark coffee and strong coffee, so I get the Bold and Brazen dark coffee. But I would highly recommend that if you use the Keurig still.
Okay, it looks like somebody's put that in there, or you put that in the chat already, so that's good. That's cool. I'm just going to say I only had one more thing on my morning thing, bathroom thing and that's I make my own deodorant. Kathy's laughing because we've only met in person once. Somebody I work with, I mentioned it and somebody said, "Oh yeah, I do that." I was like, "Oh, you smell okay." It's very easy. It's basically baking soda, coconut oil, and some scented oil or something, whatever you want. You can look online for do-it-yourself deodorant. Make it out of stuff that you probably have at home. I just put it in a big jar. They will tell you to heat it up in like a double boiler. You don't need to do that. You just do it in the microwave. So that's the last of my, when I started to get up in the morning things. Nikki.
So I've been using Earth Breeze laundry strips. Comes in a paper bag, and you can have a lot delivered or a little, whatever. And you drop that in to your laundry, and it's washing perfectly well with my low water use washer, except for on occasion there's some things that might have a bio odor, not dirt, like digging in the dirt, or grease, like working on a car. And all I do is do the auto soak feature. So I guess the clothes sit in the soapy water for a little longer, and they come out fabulously clean with it. And so no more big jugs of laundry soap.
Mhm.
Oh, and I saw those paper towel replacements and I was so confused looking at all the different types. And then there was some people said that they weren't any better than a sponge. And then I accidentally got one in a little package that I was getting for a bristle brush that's not plastic. So it's wood and bristles and for washing dishes and whatnot. Anyway, it came with one of these cellulose square pads and I love it. But I also love Diana's idea of using the little inexpensive napkins, which is what my daughter-in-law uses as dinner napkins. Just keeps a basket in the kitchen, tosses it in there whenever she wants a new one. She grabs a new one and then throws them in the wash. They all come back. So that was.
There are other brands of the sheets. I think Kathy and I both use these, which are called sheets, but it's the same thing. There's, I think, did you say True Earth?
Earth Breeze.
Earth Breeze. Okay, there's another, I think, called True Earth too. So there's several different companies now that make them, but they're fabulous. When I sent my daughter up to college, that takes care of her for a semester.
I think that I used the True Earth before, and I wasn't happy that after 6 months, my husband's t-shirts just got a smell that wouldn't wash out. So I stopped using it and then saw these and said I'd try them, and I'm very much happier with them. I've used them over a year now without any problems.
Well, that's good. That's good. So you've used it for that long and you like it. So that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, that's the one I use too, and I've used it for over a year. It's really good.
Okay. Anybody else on this topic? I'll just toss in that the other thing that I use is something called, it's a company called Drops, and you can get these little pods that you throw into your washing machine, and this is like OxyClean or whatever. It's a oxygen bleach. So if you need a bleach, you use this. You can also use it for cleaning your house.
So is the outside coating not a microplastic? It's some sort of gel or something?
Oh, Andy, do you know about this?
So it's probably a bioplastic, which I will be honest, it is not the worst thing if a bioplastic dissolves because that is typically starch based. So it's not damaging because, sorry, I actually am nerdy about this. It's not the longer polymers
We love that
break
about
into
you.
Microplastics. So you would want to check what it's made out of. But generally, if you're using a brand like 7th Generation or others, if they are using a bioplastic, they've probably done the research because they know that their customers will be really upset if it's something that is more traditional, a traditional petroleum or gas-based one. So I would do the research, but Cheryl, to your point, I did want to add for everyone, don't be discouraged, like go through trial and error with these because you're going to have to look for a product that you truly like. I prefer the sheets over anything else, and I prefer not to have anything wrapped in bioplastic. But that being said, I would also recommend getting a microplastic catcher. That's for your benefit and for everyone else's because that will trap the microplastics and then you don't have to worry about them going out into the groundwater or the ocean. So I did want to add that, Cheryl.
What's explain microplastic catcher?
So it's a like intricate ball. It's either rubber or plastic, but basically you buy it because it will trap a lot of microplastics, which inevitably, unless you have a wardrobe that's 100% wool or cotton, which I do not recommend for California, then you probably have synthetic fibers in your fabrics like polyester or things that are plastic. So you would want to be catching those anyway. That's just my recommendation. You can look it up. It's a microfiber catcher. It will catch, I can't guarantee all of them, but a bulk of the microplastics that shed from your clothes.
Okay,
Is
so
something you put in your washing machine?
Yes, you put it in your washing machine.
Thank
and
you.
it floats around in your washing machine because I've got like bags that you put stuff in, but you can't fit everything that might have some polyester in it in that. I'll have to look this up. Thank you. See, this is what I want. I want to learn from other people. Oh, wait, is that Nikki's got something. Andy, are you recognizing this?
A silicone sandwich bag. It has a little bit of a bottom to it so it will stand up on its own, and a pointed corner so it pours well. And I actually got them for, we don't use much sandwich bags, but I wanted small leftover portions to freeze. You know, as empty nesters, we only need, you know, like one meal's worth. And if I freeze leftover soup and it's 4, then I defrost it. I got the problem same again, too much of it. So I wanted to be able to separate it out and stack it up, and they work fabulous.
Where do you get them, Nikki?
These I got online from Home Depot, but there's a lot that's sold in multi sizes, but I wanted to be just get this particular size that would work for liquids or stews or whatever, chicken, whatever's left over to freeze.
So what are they called? What are they called?
Oh, no, it says zip top on it. I don't know, a name.
It's Robert, probably look for a silicone like sandwich bag or silicone container. So it's a very, Nikki, I'm glad you brought it up. It's a very popular alternative, like Nikki said, to sandwich bags, because again, they're going to last significantly longer. The only thing I don't know is what happens when and if you have to dispose of them.
Well, silicone is from soil, is it not? Anyway, but freezer, microwave, dishwasher, all, I don't know what happens if you ever want to get rid of it. But
I see Melanie put Stasher in the chat. Is that another brand of a similar product?
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
you can get them at a lot of places now. A lot of sizes, a lot of places.
Okay, cool. Diana, you've been actually waiting. I put you on hold a long time ago. How about we hear from you and then go to Vivian?
Okay, I'm going to go through a few things quickly, but you know, all of this started when it was like, I just can't live with myself by buying small plastic containers all the time and not being able to use them. And so one of the things, I love hummus, and I was getting those little hummus containers and not being able to use them. So I said, you know what? Hummus can't be that hard, so I'm going to make it. Okay, what do you need for hummus? You need tahini, right? Trader Joe's sells tahini, quarter cup, get your Cuisinart or something out. Then you need like a can of garbanzo beans, maybe a quarter cup of lemon juice. And then what do you want in it? I mean, what flavor? I put jalapenos in it because I like a little spicy kick to my hummus. And it is so good. It's so fresh. It's so tasty. And I don't have any plastic. And that is really, really exciting for me. The other thing similarly is that I have a mineral water maker, and which I have a cartridge in the back that creates the gas bubbles. And I have not purchased bottles of mineral water for a couple of years, and it feels so good and it tastes better. So that's really exciting for me. And I told you about my thing. The other
Is there a brand on your mineral water thing?
Well, you're probably very familiar with one. I think Kathy has one of those. I use DrinkMate, and because I liked the look and the feel of it, and you can fizz anything. You got orange juice and you want to fizz orange juice, you put orange juice in and fizz that. And I love it. I've had it for several years now. It's working great. So anyway. I love these ideas. Also the sheets, we talked about the laundry sheets. Costco has some too. You can get a box and.
Oh, I get them online, but cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Vivian, you've been waiting patiently and you're on mute.
Sorry. Mine is only half measure. It's like a compromise with reality in a little. With the reality we live in. It's like better than nothing, but not as great as some of the stuff that you have all been talking about. But I realized that a lot of the products, the food products that I buy are in plastic. You know, like I buy bread, it's in plastic. So what I do is when I've used up the loaf, I save the plastic bag in my drawer where I have those Ziploc bags. I fold them up and I put them in there, and I have not used Ziplocs at all since I started doing this, because instead of using a Ziploc for a leftover or whatever, I use one of my plastic bags. Now, eventually it gets yucky because I'm putting food in it and I have to throw it out, but I prolong the throwing out and at least I reduce the plastic use. I don't eliminate it altogether.
And I think, was it Christy, somebody else did something similar with cereal bags?
Oh yeah, my my boyfriend is really addicted to one kind of granola, and sadly it comes in a plastic Ziploc-y bag. But if you look in our freezer, literally everything in our freezer that we've baked or chopped or cooked extra of is in a granola Ziploc bag because they're really thick. The Ziplocs are super strong. And I mean, some of them we've used for more than a year, just over and over again when we chop fruit for smoothies or something and just zip it and put it away. And they're really good because they're so sturdy, the zips. It keeps the freezer burn away too, way better than a Ziploc bag does because it's a really sturdy plastic.
Should we be buying that particular brand of granola just for the bags?
It is. Well, I like to make my own granola, so we don't agree on that. But
Okay.
and I could use someone's 25 pounds of oats. Yeah, but it's just the Ralph's one. It's just a really sturdy bag. That's all.
Wow, this is so cool. This is wonderful information. Do you guys see all the cool stuff in the chat? So don't forget to save the chat and so you have access to some of these links and ideas.
Oh, Robert. I see a hand, Robert.
Thank you so much. You know, along with that plastic bag, I don't know if you guys have seen these things that slide on. Have you seen these? So basically, I just took my bread, plastic bag, and we use them for storage for other things. But I don't know if you can see this, but I've blown it up, and I mean, it holds the air. In other words, it's totally tight. And here, notice how it works. You slide it off, and you slide it on. It looks like this.
Where do you get that, Robert? Where do you get that?
We've had them for so long, I don't know where we got them, and so I'll try and find out where that we got them from. But they're a type. So basically, you just fold over anything, and it slides through. And then it is absolutely, I don't know if you can see the air. I mean, it just keeps the air. So it's airtight. So you could use any plastic bag and put an airtight container, make it an airtight container. Thank you.
Do you know what you call that? Does that have a name?
Oh my God. We've had them for so long. I don't even know what you call them, but they're out there. So you can kind of see.
Green thing that slides over bag. Okay, got
it. Didn't we used to have?
I'm so sorry. I should have had more information, but I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Pictures worth a thousand. When for those of you who are as old as I am, didn't we used to have something like that when we were in school to slide your papers? Andy, you remembering this? You're younger than I am. But you'd have a sheet of papers and you just slide them in something like that and it held them together. I'm wondering if you can still find those, if that would work.
I remember those, Cheryl.
Thank you.
But this one that Robert had seemed to have the yellow thing seemed to be something inside it. I don't know what the function of that is.
Oh yeah, what's that?
You're muted, Robert, you're muted.
So it's like what you were talking about, Cheryl, like with the old thing, the papers. So you have let me get it close. So you have this little slide thing, but then there's the tip of it, which allows you to put hold on, the plastic through it like this, and it slides over and it makes a absolute solid seal.
Okay.
So maybe for the next meeting, I'll try and have the name of this stuff. Oh my God.
Perfect.
Cheryl, I think what Vivian and Christy do is an excellent repurposing. If you want to go the extra mile with arts and crafts, if you save the bags, again, I just found this on WikiHow. you can save them and you can do things like make eco bricks, which if you can find a vendor, you can turn them in, because ultimately you can actually use a lot of this material as long as you're building like non-weight bearing walls. So that's one option. You can actually save it and just like stick it in like a 2-liter bottle and ship it off if a vendor will take it. Again, that's an extreme issue or an extreme thing to do with plastic waste. But another thing that you can do is old towels, old plastic bags, plastic films that you're not using, you can save them and use them for like furniture inserts, like ottomans and other things that you don't really care about, that are more decorative or ornate. Because we actually did that. We basically just bought an ottoman, like a do-it-yourself ottoman, and stuffed it full of old towels that we weren't using and old plastic, and it actually worked for a while until the cats ruined it, of course.
And it wasn't lumpy?
No, because basically it was such a firm like exterior for the ottoman that you really just needed something that like you just kept shoving it full until it basically was a solid entity, like a solid ottoman.
Huh. That's interesting.
I think I found a link. I just put it in the chat, the bag clip link. Looks really close. It's green, it's long, it's thin, it's got a little tail sticking out. So I don't know, Robert, maybe you could just like take a quick look at that link and grify if that's in fact what you're talking about.
Yeah, what I found the name on it. It's called Grip Stick.
Grip Stick, okay.
Grip Stick. I put it in the chat.
If you have old towels and sheets and stuff too, the animal shelters always want those because they make dog beds out of them, and because they smell like humans, the dogs like to sleep.
Oh,
Sweet.
that's making me sad.
That's sweet, sweet, sweet. So I just want to get a sense, because we're starting to get close to the time, and I don't see Jolly on. So, oh, Jolly, no, I do. Oh, Antoinette, are you on? Are you still on? Are you hanging in there with us? I know she's muted right now, but I think she was going to introduce herself. She's the one running for CD6, so we'll see if she comes back. And are there any announcements? Because Cheryl, if there aren't, we can take a few more minutes, but if we're wrapping up, we'll switch over to.
Let me run through just a couple more things.
Okay.
So the drops people also make something for your dishwasher, so you can get it through there. There is also, and unfortunately I left it in my kitchen, you can get bar soap for your for hand dishwashing. You can either get it in a big, huge bar, which is how I got it the first time, or you can get it like it comes in a bowl and then you can get refills for the bowl, and that looks a little prettier. This is one of my favorite companies. It's called Etty. I don't know if anybody can see that. And this is a beeswax pod. You kind of slice through there, you mix it with water, squeeze it out, mix it with water. They say that you can compost this. I'm saving them because one of these days I'm going to figure out how to make candles out of it. And it kind of feels like potions class, you know, in Harry Potter, which is kind of cool.
What is the beeswax pod holding again? Sorry.
It's holding concentrated dishwashing liquid. So
for the dishwasher or for the
no, for hand dishwashing, if you want a liquid dish soap, like for hand dishwashing, this contains a concentration, and then you mix it with a certain amount of water and you've got your dishwashing liquid. And I just think it's very cool. What else?
Where do you find that? What is it called?
It's ETEE, Etty. Sorry. You see?
Bee pods.
Yep.
Wow, great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the last thing, I think Kathy talked about this too, but in terms of when you get your groceries and and greens and stuff like that, to keep them in your refrigerator instead of putting them in plastic or anything like that. Kathy had some bags that she bought. I have a really good bag, and of course I left it, it's in the refrigerator. and it is called Veggie Bag. It's VEJI and then -BAG. My daughter gave it to me as a Christmas present. They're pricey because they're made out of French terry, but you can put a head of lettuce in there, and it's lasted in my refrigerator for 2 weeks, which is kind of unheard of. So basically you have a cloth bag, and this one is just like a bag that, you know, I bought a set of sheets and they usually come packed in a bag. It's just a cotton bag, get it damp, put your greens in there, put it in the fridge, and they can breathe so you don't get out, they don't mold and go bad, but there's enough moisture to get them to last longer. You can get away from sponges and stuff like that by going either, this is Quire, I think, or you can just make sure and get scrub brushes that are all natural. And I guess that does it for me.
Great, great, great. Okay, well, I appreciate Cheryl. I know it was like a little bit like herding cats when we first started talking about it, but it just turned out really, really good just by everyone interacting and offering their ideas. This chat is so full of great ideas, so please save the chat so you have access to it. Of course, we'll get the video up as a recording on our YouTube channel at some point. Thank you, Cheryl, for leading this. We really appreciate it. That was great. Okay, yeah.
I can answer Cheryl's beeswax candle question, not question, but interest. You can literally just do a double boiler on your stove, Cheryl, and put that beeswax in the double boiler and then dump it in whatever you want to use.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to doing it yet. I know you're associated with Honey Love, with the Honey Love people. I used to have hives on my roof for a while until our roof needed to be fixed, and then we got solar panels and we couldn't send people up there with bees up there. But so I have some wax, and it's just sitting in my freezer waiting for me to actually do this someday.
Yeah, you just get a piece of hemp string, melt the wax in a double boiler, get a piece of string, stick it in the wax.
Oh, you're doing tapers. Okay.
No, I'm just saying stick it in the wax to make the wick.
Uh-huh.
And then just pour the rest of the wax in your container and stick the wick you made.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Thank you.
You can do it with your like twine that you get on chicken and stuff. You can make wicks out of it.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you.
Great ideas, great ideas.
Yeah,
So
Honey Love does not have honey, but I have honey. If anyone wants to gift their friends local honey, give me a call. And I have a bit to sell from my girls.
Great, Christy. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, sharing your great ideas about sustainability, and good to see you guys, and just wishing you all a really peaceful, calm holiday season. And I think we'll all feel better if we do some of the things that we talked about tonight. So try to put some of that into practice, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year. So bye for now.